Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. I'm understanding why Kyrie Irving, Nick Cannon, Kanye-West, and others go on a apologetic tour when there's controversy surrounding a statement or a video or a documentary such as Hebrew to Negroes when it's displayed. Because I couldn't understand it at first. Because when I first heard the knowledge on Hebrew to Negro, and when I read excerpts from Secret Relationship Between Black and Jews, I was looking for the Jewish side, the white Jewish side, European Jewish side, to come out and prove what was stated wrong. And the reason being is because you have to realize in America for over 400 years, black people wasn't allowed to read or write, meaning it was actually against the law. So when knowledge comes forth, then it uplifts. It don't suppress. It uplifts an individual to fight off certain stigmatisms that he has to fight when he comes outside or she comes outside of their home every day, because you have suggested symbolism that's all over that points the finger that, hey, you used to be a slave. We see you as inferior. They put it in the commercials. They try to make the black man and woman be the court jesters of America. In all actuality, when you go back and study history, you see the great works that black people have achieved. So you're saying, okay, well, if what they're saying is so bad, then why not dispute it and put out your facts, right? And it never happens. It's always anti-Semitic, this, you shouldn't say this, right? And people the grassroots are like, well, why? What's going on, right? So I finally realized the problem. It's not the information. Now, some don't like how the information is presented. I can understand that. But the actual information is not the problem. It's the fact that the white right wing will use that as a tool to create violence. Now we getting it. Okay. And that's not the objective of the knowledge, is to see anyone gets hurt in any type of form, way, shape, or fashion. Now, it's like a catch-22. They're saying, well, yeah, we can acknowledge that they're black Jews. So when Kyrie Irving said, well, I can't be against something I am. It's to use the term ludicrous, but he's like, come on, think about it, right? But that's not the objective. They're saying, yeah, but by you making the statement and the documentary, it could lead to harm to the white Jews by the white Gentiles. And it's a fight all over again. And okay, so what's the best answer, or how can we solve this problem? Because on one hand, you have a whole culture and knowledge that was snuffed out in regards to black people and their history, which they're yearning for the information to be out. Why? Because knowledge is power. But on the other hand, wow, man, if you put this knowledge out, it could lead to potential violence towards another group. It's like, okay. So that's when now we're at a crossroads. That's where we at now. Knowledge is power. The truth shall set you free. And they're saying, yeah, but by you becoming free, it puts us in harm. Okay. So what I'm thinking is they'll come to Ye or Kyrie Irving or Nick Cannon and others and Ice Cube and whatnot and say, look, what do you want? What can we, in order to make this go away, look, we need an open apology for you and we'll do this for you. But you can't go on championing these issues, right? Now, in the defense of the entertainers or celebrities or actors or whatever, they're saying, well, we just getting privy to this knowledge. It's like this. When you've been suppressed, and this is coming from a black point of view, and a lot of you all, if you haven't been suppressed and been in a type of bondage of slavery that blacks have, you're not gonna understand this, right? When I say bondage, I mean in a strange land amongst strange people, suffering for 400 years. If you haven't been in that predicament, you're not going to understand what I'm saying. So when certain truths that uplift your being or your race, when it's been put down for years and new knowledge comes and you thank the people, man, for researching, they're working their time for researching the knowledge to put it out because it gives one leverage to stand on. Like, hey, man, y'all told me that I was this and I was cursed and I was so-and-so. Wait, here go evidence with facts that can be traced to prove that it was a lie, right? So when it gets to that point, it's like a breath of fresh air. You can finally get the burden off your shoulders and show the world, hey, nah, y'all can't say that blacks was just sitting in the jungles of Africa swinging on trees before white folks found them. That was another lie. That was another myth, right? So I'm going to play just a tad bit more of Hebrews to Negroes, right? And I hope it comes through well through the speaker system. But I'm doing this, right, to show that the knowledge may be true, but the repercussions of the knowledge is what people are afraid of. So y'all take a quick listen right here on Verbal Pick Radio.
Historian Herodotus, who lived during 490 BC, he quoted that the eastern Ethiopians, for two nations of the same name served in the army, were marshaled with the Indians. They differed in nothing from the other Ethiopians, save in their language and the character of their hair. For the eastern Ethiopians have straight hair, while they of Libya or Africa are more woolly haired than any other people in the world. Now take this in consideration. As early as the 12th century AD, mention is made of the black Jews in southern India and the native black Semitic people they lived amongst in exile. The Gentile Jewish traveler from Spain, Benjamin of Tudela, speaking of Kolam on the Malabar coast, writes in his itinerary, throughout the island, including all the towns thereof, live several thousand Israelites. The inhabitants are all black, and the Jews also. Now, these people later became known as the Black Malabar Jews in Kerala, India, and later the Gentile Sephardic Jews around the time of the 15th century AD would mysteriously find their way to India, where these Sephardic immigrants would be known as the Paradesi white Jews. Now, the descendants of the Black Malabar or Cochin Jews had their DNA analyzed. In a 2009 DNA report conferred that the Ethiopian Jews of Beta Israel and the Indian Jews of Benai Israel and Cochin have similarities in their DNA. Now, one chronicle in India tells how a group of Jews descended from the Assyrian exile of the 10 northern tribes made their way to Calicut, Kerala by way of Arabia, Yemen. And a Malayalam Jewish song from Kerala, India suggests that the Jews of the ancient town of Pallura may have come from Yemen. It is a known fact that many of the dialects of Malayalam in South India have traces of Assyrian, Aramaic, and Hebrew influences. Now, in regards to the Greeks would classify the black Ethiopians and black Egyptians under the term Ethiops, Nubian, and Niger, simply because these names were associated with dark-skinned people. English archaeologist Sir Godfrey Higgins, who lived in the 1700s, would write the following about the Ethiopians. According to many ancient testimonies, the inhabitants of Sudan, Egypt, Arabia, Palestine, Western Asia, and India were Ethiopians, therefore Africans. Back in that era, there were two lands called Ethiopia, one on the east of the Red Sea and the other on the west of it. And a very great nation of blacks from India did rule almost all over Asia in a very remote era, in fact, beyond the reach of history of any of our records. Now, Strabo was the Greek historian who lived around 63 BC, and he died around 24 AD. Now, he spent most of his travels in Kush and in Egypt. Now, he stated that the whole of India is traversed by rivers. As for the people of India, those in the south are like the Ethiopians in color, although they are like the rest in respect to the countenance or appearance and also hair. For an account of the humidity...
Wait, see, that's why you'd hear the negative connotations in referring to black. And Malcolm X went through the whole thing. Blackball, devil's cake, black, you've been blackmailed, black lie, blacklisted. I mean, all of that was purposely done to make black people ashamed of being black, because the truth is, if the knowledge that blacks were the chosen or the children of God, that knowledge had to be hidden. It can never come out. So, in defense of the black man and woman, the reason why the knowledge was so important, because it pushed the falsities and the negative connotations in regarding a whole race of people. So we're going to listen a little bit longer and we'll close it out.
The hair does not curl, whereas those in the north are like the Egyptians. Now, Arian of Nicomedia, a Greek historian who lived during the 1st century AD, in his literary work Indica, he quoted that the appearance of the inhabitants is also not very different in India and Ethiopia. The southern Indians have rather more like Ethiopians, as they were black to look on, and their hair is black. Only they are not so snub-nosed and woolly-haired as the Ethiopians. The northern Indians are most like the Egyptians physically. So after all this evidence of the mixing of Ham seed with the descendants of Eber, isn't it interesting that Abram's name was later changed to Abraham? The Most High changed Abram's name to Abraham because he was to be the father of a multitude of nations, mainly through the mixing of Ham seed, not Japheth's seed. Nevertheless, by seeing all this with evidence and using critical thinking, we should be able to understand how the children of Israel got their brown skin complexion, something we don't see with the people who came to Israel in 1948, called themselves Jews.
There we go right there. There we go right there. There we go right there. See, now, okay, so statements, when you say who call themselves so-called Jews, of course, the white Jews will take offense to that. All right. But that's not what we're here for. We simply here to extract what is good and leave what is bad, or to go after the truth, and the rest is, we're not concerned with that. Now, those who seek truth, those that are educators, those that are journalists, the whole mission is the truth. And it's not about violence and attacking people and getting down on a lower level or a lower vibration or a lower frequency. It's about maintaining integrity in dealing with a subject that causes a lot of pain, but it has to be dealt with as adults and as free thinking people, right? So yeah, I understand the apology. I really do. But I also understand the knowledge, right? So think over that and do what you gotta do. But whether you are a white Jew or a black Jew, unity is important if we can unify on the knowledge and go from there. The name call and then, push that aside. But strictly deal with facts and the truth. Because as I stated before, the truth shall set you free. Right here on Bro Pick Radio. We out, and also get the book Consequence by Vince Cole Muhammad. We out.